After driving the car around the block like once or twice, like I figured it was time to get power steering because I don't want to fight it every time I drive. I feel like I'm building muscle just turning the wheel.
God, I need power steering so bad. Let's see. Oh no, I gotta turn the wheel again.
So luckily, Hondas has been in the game for quite some time, and you can buy any bolt-on kit online. This kit's actually from Hybrid Racing, and it comes with the power steering cooler, a couple of lines, some clamps. So everything in this kit will help you get started, and you'll be driving around the car comfortably, just like the newer car, in no time. Installing is pretty simple. Hybrid pretty much gives you everything needed to install it besides the bracket that I made, and you'll see later that I actually created a bracket with just an L. So the first thing you'll do is actually remove the old power steering pump, right? And you have to use the RSX Type S pump. The original one I had was a EP3, and that you could use this if you don't want any power steering in it, but then I want power steering, so you're gonna have to get the USDM one, and you'll know that by just looking at the adapter they give you. The JDM one, the screws for these bolts actually go vertical, so top and bottom, and then the USD one actually is like one screw on the bottom and one screw on the right. So you would have to remove it and then add the belt from the kit that actually contains like it's long enough for the power steering, so that's what you need. So the first line actually goes from the top and then go all the way to the back here, and then you won't get mixed up because this line actually has a fitting that it goes in, and then from that fitting there's actually a hose that you plug in, and that hose would go all the way to your cooler, and then my cooler is actually mounted here. So mounting the cooler is going to be a little bit tricky. Like a lot of people just put it in front of the condenser, the AC condenser, but I'm actually putting it up above it. So to do that, you just have to make a bracket. I just got like a pretty much an L slotted bracket and cut it to fit and put some rib nuts on, and it fits perfectly here. And the good thing about this is it actually blocks the hood release cable, and a lot of EK owners know that that's probably the easiest way to open your hood. This is pretty simple to mount. You just have to eyeball it. Zip tie that goes on. Perfect. And then there's a hose that goes from the the cooler, and then you're gonna have to choose where you want to mount your reservoir. I chose the right hand side because the hoses that they actually gave with this kit, it's only long enough to fit on the right hand side, and then if you do to the left, I actually try to route it that way, and the hose wasn't long enough to clear that. So that line from the cooler goes into the reservoir, and then there's a bigger hose that goes from the reservoir back into the power steering pump, and then once that's all fitted, it should work perfectly. But the only exception is since this power steering pump is actually a little bit taller, you might have to cut your hood a bit. So I'll just do that later. This is probably like the most interesting part of the build. So I actually placed it to right where the vents are. So let's see. Hopefully it matches it. So, and hopefully it clears it. By putting it on here. Oh god, the bumper goes on. This is probably the best part of the build. So now where I place it is exactly where this air vent is. So air flows through there, and then power steering cooler works.